So Natasha Bowen, who's a Freedom to Speak Up champion, who's going to speak to us for a few minutes. Go, Natasha.
Hi, everybody. So mine is a quick, short, sweet of why I became a champion. So I've been with the Trust for nearly 3 years. This is my 3rd year. And I will tell you how I began in the Trust. So I had started as an admin assistant in a fixed term role for 6 months. And I was in my first week of my employment. I'm just doing all my mandatory training. And I had an external contractor come into the centre where I worked, and he made some racist, derogatory comments to me, directly to my face. I was shocked. I thought it was a test, and I laughed. And I knew, because I'd done the training, I needed to challenge, and I didn't actually have the confidence to do it. And unbeknown to me, my manager was standing behind me. She came forward, she stood in front of me, she addressed the person, she dressed them down, she explained to them that it was unacceptable to speak to a member of her staff like that. Never have I ever had anybody stand up for me like that before. And for me, I felt so empowered that somebody had stood up for me. Really, it should have been me. And she followed it up. So she saw me afterwards, she asked me how I was. She said she was going to follow it up by making a formal complaint and asked for my permission. I was quite new in the role. I didn't want to make a reputation for myself, and I was very unsure about it. And she said, regardless of whether I wanted to, she would, because they would not accept that behaviour within the Trust. And that's when I knew I wanted to work for the Trust. That's when I felt that, yeah, that's something I could be part of. So I then managed to find and secure permanent employment within the Trust, which I was very excited about. And very early on into the role, I experienced, I'm going to call it accepted racism, because it wasn't necessarily directed at me. It was colleagues and line managers, and it was totally accepted. And I did what I said I was going to do. I stood up, I challenged it, but I was the only one. And I felt very alone, and I knew I needed to raise it, and I didn't know where to go. So I went to find the Freedom to Speak Up Guardian, because I'd seen her in my induction, and then I realised she wasn't there anymore, and she had been taken over for an interim period by Dr. Julie Hankin, and that frightened me to death. The thought of going to Dr. Julie Hankin and addressing this issue was too frightening for me, and I'm ashamed of that. I will hold my hands up, and I should have followed it through, but I didn't feel like I could. So I found alternative employment. I left the team that I was in. It didn't suit me, it didn't fit me, and it may have been a coward's way out, but I needed to look after my own mental health, and I felt that it was having a detrimental effect on me. And then I was in a BME network meeting, and Cindy came in, and she was like, hello, I am the new interim guardian. And I was like, wow, yes, I can get on board with that. She said what she wanted to do. She said she was looking for champions, and I felt like that was perfect. And I think we'd not even got to the end of the meeting, and I was emailing her, please can I be a champion, because I felt like I had an understanding and lived experience of 2 completely different situations handled in completely different ways, and I felt that being a champion would be a great way for me to support my colleagues to be able to access speaking up, because it, as much as people say, yeah, freedom to speak up, it's really difficult. You have to put yourself in that situation, and you weigh up the pros and the cons, and sometimes the cons outweigh the pros. You can never be sure. So for me, being part of speaking up, freedom to speak up, was very important to me, and I'm very passionate about it. And I'm Simbi's #1 fan, because I think she's fantastic, and I think she's so approachable, she's understanding, and I think these are part of the Trust key values is building that trust, being compassionate, understanding all of these things. And I feel like as a champion, I'm proud to be a champion, and hopefully I'm approachable for anybody that feels how I felt, because not everybody feels how I felt. They have the confidence to speak up, but I didn't. So I wanted to share my story. So that is me.